Welcome to the Reverend Jun podcast, where faith meets everyday life and where we continue recognizing individuals whose gifts reflect something of God's beauty in the world. Today, we turn our attention to someone whose childhood was marked by floods, not just water rising through the streets of Malabon City, but a deeper understanding of how public neglect and policy failure directly affect ordinary lives. Her name is Renee Co, and she grew up in a small but vibrant community in Metro Manila, known for its floods, narrow streets, and resilient people. Renee once shared that the water would sometimes reach waist deep inside their home, and it was then that she began to understand that problems keep coming back when no one truly fixes them. From those flooded streets to the halls of Congress, her journey reveals something profound about preparation, conviction, and what it means to serve in the truest sense. Renee's parents encouraged awareness rather than resignation. Her father read poetry and philosophy, while her mother, practical and grounded, reminded her of the daily struggles of ordinary people. In their household, conversation mattered, whether about books, the evening news, or the future of the country. Renee grew up learning that one could care deeply about both ideas and people. That atmosphere shaped her into someone who was not content with silence when things were wrong. In Proverbs 22:6 we read, "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." Renee's parents planted seeds of awareness and compassion that would grow throughout her life. In school, she excelled academically, but was equally active in community affairs. Teachers described her as diligent and curious, someone who asked difficult questions and sought answers beyond textbooks. When she attended Manila Science High School, her interests widened, from environmental awareness to politics and civic participation. She learned early that science and society were deeply connected, how public policy could determine whether communities suffered or survived. After high school, Renee entered the University of the Philippines Diliman, choosing to major in political science at the College of Social Sciences and Philosophy. UP was where her worldview deepened and sharpened. It was a place of both intellectual rigor and activism, where the lines between classroom and community were often blurred. Renee became an active campus leader, joining student organizations, writing for Synog, the student publication, and later serving as its editor-in-chief. Her writing reflected the tension of her generation, intelligent, critical, but always hopeful that change was possible. Her leadership soon extended beyond journalism. She joined the Kabataan Party List and became a key organizer of the UP Rises Against Tyranny and Dictatorship Network. She learned that activism was not only about protest, but also about building alternatives, programs, laws, and systems that could replace what was broken. In 2021, she was appointed as the 38th student regent of the UP system, representing more than 50,000 students across all campuses before the university's Board of Regents. During her term, she spoke strongly against the termination of the 1989 UP-DND Accord, which had protected the university from unwarranted military intervention. In one of her statements, she said, "We are taught to think critically, not to undermine authority, but to hold it accountable." Those words captured her belief that education and democracy go hand in hand. This echoes something deeply biblical. In Acts 5, verse 29, Peter declares, "We must obey God rather than human beings." True accountability comes from recognizing a higher standard than political expediency, a commitment to truth and justice that transcends power structures. After finishing her undergraduate degree cum laude, Renee continued at the UP College of Law, earning her Juris Doctor in 2023 and passing the bar examination that same year. Her transition from student activism to legal practice was natural. Law was, for her, another language of justice. She often said that knowing the law was not about power, but about protection. If we understand the law, we can use it to defend those who have none. This understanding reflects the biblical concept of advocacy, standing in the gap for those who cannot stand for themselves. In Proverbs 31 verses 8 to 9, we read, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy." Her rise to national prominence began in late 2024, when Cabotan Party List announced her as their first nominee for the 2025 national elections. Her candidacy was not built on wealth or lineage, but on years of consistent advocacy. When she took her oath as representative for Cabotan Party List in the 20th Congress of the Philippines, she became one of the youngest lawmakers in the country. Her first days in office were marked by humility and conviction. She filed bills addressing online child exploitation, student rights, and equitable education funding. In interviews, she emphasized that the youth sector was not merely the future, but the present, already working, studying, and struggling under systems they did not create. Renee also gained attention for how she expressed her beliefs through symbolism. During the 2025 State of the Nation address, she wore a modified version of her law school graduation dress, redesigned by young artists as a protest outfit against corruption and political dynasties. She explained that it was not a fashion statement, but a political one. A reminder that the youth can transform symbols of privilege into instruments of protest. "We don't inherit power," she said that day. "We claim responsibility." Throughout her growing public career, Renee has remained grounded in her original motivations. She still returns to Malabon to visit the neighborhoods where she grew up, often speaking with local students and community leaders. Her approach to politics is relational, listening first, legislating later. She once remarked, "If you want to know what policy should look like, ask the people who live with its consequences." This reflects the incarnational principle we see in Jesus, God who didn't stay distant, but entered into human experience, who listened to the marginalized, who understood suffering from the inside. True leadership requires this kind of presence. Renee's story is one of education meeting empathy. Intellect joined with service. From the floods of Malabon to the halls of Congress, she has carried the same conviction, that public service must be rooted in real life. Her journey teaches us several things. First, preparation matters. From Manila Science High School to UP Diliman to law school, Renee built competence before seeking position. She didn't shortcut the process. Excellence in small things prepared her for greater responsibilities. Second, conviction must translate to action. It's not enough to care about injustice. Renee moved from awareness to advocacy, from writing to organizing, from student leadership to national legislation. Third, service requires staying connected to those you serve, despite her position. Renee returns to Malabon, listens to communities, roots her policy work in real conversations with real people. Fourth, humility amplifies authority. Her approach, listening first, legislating later, reflects a maturity that many older politicians lack. She understands that position doesn't equal wisdom. In a political culture often dominated by dynasties and name recognition, Renee Co's emergence is remarkable. She embodies the idea that leadership can come from conviction rather than connection, from principle rather than privilege. Renee's story is far from finished. She stands at the crossroads of activism and governance, trying to prove that youth leadership can be both idealistic and effective. Her office now focuses on bills related to student representation, campus press freedom, environmental justice, and youth employment. Beyond legislation, she speaks at universities and forums, urging young Filipinos to see politics not as something distant or dirty, but as a form of stewardship. Her message resonates that the future is not inherited from the past, but built in the present by those willing to care. Whether or not she remains long in politics, her example already speaks volumes. It tells young Filipinos that intelligence without compassion is hollow, and passion without discipline is fleeting. In her, both come together, forming a rare balance of courage, competence, and conscience. From flooded streets to legislative chambers, she carries with her the memory of those who taught her to ask why, and the determination to answer not only with words, but with action. This has been Spotlight on the Rev June podcast. Join me next time as we celebrate more stories of creativity, purpose, and faith, reminding us that every good gift comes from above. Until then, may you use your gifts to serve those who cannot speak for themselves, to hold power accountable, and to build systems that reflect justice and compassion.